Andrea Leadsom ups the ante in her pitch to lead the Conservatives and become Prime Minister.
Leadsom for leader! When do we want it?
Her backers march in support, complaining of dirty tricks and dismiss charges Leadsom sexed up her CV. That, as the Foreign Secretary warns, leaving the EU won't be that easy.
Let's banish the pessimists. No one needs to fear our decision to leave the EU.
Also this lunchtime, 2 more killings in America at the hands of the police, both captured on video, fueling protests and demands for action. Wales defeated but facing the warmest of welcomes on the hillsides and in the capital Cardiff. And
Yo, I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. So tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I'll tell you
want it or not, it's back in a powerful cause for women across the world.
This is the ITV Lunchtime News with Alistair Stewart.
Good afternoon. With the biggest prize in politics at stake, the keys to number 10, it was bound to get prickly. The Home Secretary, Theresa May, is miles ahead, but Tory MPs are casting their votes right now to decide who she will face in a party-wide runoff. It is between Andrea Leadsom, a junior minister said to have overdone it with her CV, and Michael Gove, the cabinet minister accused of the brutal political assassination of Boris Johnson. But as our deputy political editor Chris Shipp reports, the Foreign Secretary today poured cold water on their shared hope of getting the UK out of the EU sooner rather than later.
Leadsom for leader! When do we want it? Now!
It is not often marches through Westminster look like this.
When do we want it? Now!
Andrea Leadsom's supporters are not your usual suspects for chanting slogans in the street, and if you look at Northern Ireland Secretary Theresa Villas on the right here, it's clear not everyone was enjoying it. They had just come from a rally where Andrea Leadsom herself had made her pitch to be Prime Minister. By tonight she could be one of 2 contenders left. We were told this would be a major speech on the economy. It wasn't, but it was an optimistic outlook on life outside the EU.
My first task is to show how great our potential is as a nation. Let's banish the pessimists.
She said her goal would be prosperity, not austerity. We should embrace the weaker pound and buy fewer imports. And to the city, she had this message.
Today, I want to speak to the markets as well as to the nation. No one needs to fear our decision to leave the EU.
So the big question today is this. Of the final 3 contenders, will Andrea Leadsom or Michael Gove join Theresa May in the final round? Michael Gove perhaps prematurely collected what looked like a box of wine and then some glasses at his home this morning. He's already struggling with the fallout from his assassination of Boris Johnson last week and has now met another setback. A text to MPs from his campaign manager has been leaked, showing a desperate attempt to stop Andrea Leadsom. It read, "I'm seriously frightened about the risk of allowing Andrea Leadsom onto the membership ballot. Michael doesn't mind spending 2 months taking a good thrashing from Theresa if that's what it takes. But in the party's interest and the national interest, surely we must work together to stop AL. Kiss."
I don't think it's about stopping anyone. I think it's about giving the Conservative Party in the country a choice of 2 people who could be Prime Minister. Thank you.
Whoever is the new Prime Minister will have the task of leading Britain out of the EU. And according to the Foreign Secretary, the divorce papers, what's known as Article 50, will not be served anytime soon.
For the moment, we are not in a position to begin substantive negotiations immediately, and therefore it would be unwise to start the process ticking.
In a committee room of this building, Tory MPs have until 4 p.m. to choose their final 2.
So, high drama there, Chris. How's it going to map out throughout the day?
A good question. Well, 4 o'clock is the announcement, or the end of voting, the announcement about half an hour later. It is hard to see, Alistair, how Theresa May will not be one of the final 2. She got half of all MPs' votes a couple of days ago. She's probably going to pick up a few more since then, given that Liam Fox and Stephen Crabb dropped out, both endorsing her. The big question is who is going to be the other candidates that will go forward to be elected by Tory party members to be the new leader and, of course, the new Prime Minister. Now, I've met Tory MPs who tell me, you know what, we're beginning to question whether or not Andrea Leadsom has got the experience. Maybe we should opt for Michael Gove. But then there are plenty of MPs in there who don't like what Michael Gove did to Boris Johnson, wonder whether they can trust him and will not support him. I wouldn't like to make a call at the moment, but I'm predicting perhaps it could be two women going through to the final.
Sharpen that pencil for 6:30, Chris. Thank you very much indeed. Now, two fatal shootings by police in America have sparked protests and prompted widespread condemnation. Both shootings were caught on camera, and both victims were black men. In Louisiana, demonstrators gathered for a second night at the spot where police held a man to the ground before shooting him in the chest. And last night, more than 1,000 miles north, in Minnesota, officers shot and killed another man in front of a young child. His girlfriend live-streamed what was happening on her phone. And a word of warning, you may find Juliette Bremner's report distressing.
The aftermath of yet another police shooting of a black man in the United States. This time, it was a suburb of St. Paul, Minnesota, and it was all streamed live by the victim's girlfriend.
We got pulled over for a busted tail light in the back. They killed my boyfriend. He's licensed, he's licensed to carry. He was trying to get out his ID and his wallet out his pocket, and he let the officer know that he had a firearm and he was reaching for his wallet, and the officer just shot him in his arm. Oh my God, please don't tell me he's dead.
32-year-old Philando Castile was pronounced dead at hospital a short time later. According to his girlfriend, Lavish Reynolds, he was reaching for his gun licence when the officer opened fire. They'd been stopped because of a broken rear light. Her 4-year-old daughter was in the back seat. Philando Castile is the 123rd black American to be killed by police in the USA this year. In Minnesota, they gathered to protest.
I'm tired of the laws and policies on the books being used to justify murder.
48 hours earlier in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, another video emerged. In images too distressing to show, the officers remove a gun from the black man's pocket after shooting him. Father of 5, Alton Sterling, died from multiple chest wounds. He'd been selling CDs outside a shop when he was arrested. Family and friends at a vigil were horrified by these latest images.
They sat there and watched him die. They sat there and watched him take his last breath. And I'm mad and I'm angry.
The governor of Louisiana has promised a full and transparent investigation into the use of excessive force. But patience is running out at the apparent inability of the authorities to stop the shooting of innocent black men. Juliette Bremner, ITV News.
We're getting some breaking news this lunchtime. 5 men have died after an industrial accident at a recycling site in Birmingham. Police were called by the ambulance service at 8:45 this morning to reports that a concrete structure had collapsed at Nichels. Now, you can see these pictures that we are getting in the last few minutes, that emergency services are indeed at the scene and heavy lifting equipment. All 5 men were apparently pronounced dead at the scene. Another man is in hospital with serious leg injuries, and the health and safety executive is said to be assisting those officers at the site. We will have the very latest on this developing story on our website, itv.com/news. A British man has pleaded not guilty to attempting to assassinate United States presidential hopeful Donald Trump. 20-year-old Michael Sanford from Surrey is accused of snatching a police officer's gun at a rally in Las Vegas last month. He is due to stand trial in August. Here, police are investigating after 2 children died when the car they were travelling in crashed into a loch near Oban in Scotland. The bodies of the children, who were 2 and 3 years old, were recovered after the crash yesterday. A 36-year-old woman was also taken to hospital but released after treatment. And ITV News has learnt that only one bidder remains in the race to buy Tata Steel. Sources close to the talks have confirmed Tata is only dealing with the India-based firm Liberty House, though a deal is not expected any time soon. A taxi driver who drove 200 miles to kill a popular shopkeeper in Scotland has pleaded guilty to his murder. Tanvir Ahmed from Bradford did not know Asad Shah, but today admitted attacking him because of a religious message that he had posted on the internet, which Ahmed claimed disrespected the Prophet Muhammad. Well, our Scotland correspondent Peter Smith has been following this case and joins us live now from Glasgow. Peter.
Yes, Alistair, well, this was a religiously motivated murder, a sectarian hate crime born in Pakistan but ultimately executed on the streets of Britain. In the court today, we were shown the CCTV of the attack, and we heard that the police photographers, even the most experienced police photographers, were warned before viewing the murder scene that this would be a particularly distressing case for them. Asad Shah was a newsagent in Glasgow.
Thank you, see you later. Bye-bye.
But he also used to make internet videos, preaching to the world from behind his counter.
We have to unite all beloved mankind.
In these late-night sermons, he called himself a prophet in a new religion for peace and unity. That was enough to get him murdered on the street in front of his family. It was a ferocious and ruthless attack. Today, Tanvir Ahmed pleaded guilty to murder. He said Asad Shah's videos offended Islam, so he drove 200 miles north from his home in Bradford to kill. In Asad Shah's old mosque, the elders told me they're still in shock at this violence, executed in the name of religion.
No individual have a right to take the law in his own hand. So it is very unfortunate that the Muslims, they don't read Holy Quran, or if they read, they don't understand.
Tanvir Ahmed was inspired by hate preachers. His Facebook page is a shrine to fanatics and killers. Asad Shah was already on their radar because he was the wrong kind of Muslim. He was an Ahmadiyya, a sect that is widely persecuted because they believe there was another prophet after Muhammad. In Pakistan, their mosques have been firebombed. The Ahmadiyya here now fear that hatred is being imported by radicals in Britain.
He didn't deserve this, what he got. Such a nice member of the community, helpful member, and he was taken away? For what? Just because he was saying something which the other people didn't like it?
Tanvir Ahmed will be sentenced on the 9th of August. Today the judge told him this was a truly despicable crime, motivated it seems by your sense of offence at a man's expression of his religious beliefs, which differ from yours. Asad Shah left Pakistan 25 years ago to escape persecution. His family's now decided to leave this country, fleeing in fear once again because of their beliefs. Peter Smith, ITV News, Glasgow.
And still to come this lunchtime. The Spice Girls remake with a serious message for the world. But first, millions of hearts were broken last night as Wales were knocked out of Euro 2016 after a 2-0 defeat to Portugal. The team's remarkable journey may have ended at the semi-finals in France, but focus is now firmly on their future. Our correspondent Emma Murphy reports now from France on heartbreak and pride.
Children in arms, or indeed pint in hand, the Wales team began the journey home this morning, defeated, yet determined that this is the first taste of tournament success for this generation, and there will be more to follow.
I can't tell you how proud I am. I'm as proud as this team, prouder of this team of any team I've ever been involved in, because I know what they've sacrificed to get to this stage. And when you give so much, then and you can't give no more. The results are going to be what they're going to be. But I think they'll probably end up going back to Cardiff to a nice welcome, and they deserve that.
On the pitch, they may have been defeated by Portugal, but the night was not one for sadness. Disappointed as they were, this was the time for the team to celebrate their fans, as their fans celebrated their team. This morning, the pride remained despite the headaches.
We're a bit dejected, but to be honest, we are very proud of the boys. They've done a marvellous job.
Well, I feel a little bit hungover, I'm not going to lie. But, no, it was a good game, wasn't it? It was an excellent game. Good to watch, good atmosphere in the fan zone. These boys went to the game, had a good laugh, drunk lots of beer, met lots of women. Had a great time, yeah, it's been excellent. Bit of a shame that we're out of the game, like, but out of the Euros. But
tomorrow the team will be back in Wales and an open-top bus tour of Cardiff awaits.
Great stuff there, Emma. Dejection, but a real sense of pride too.
Oh, absolutely. And from the moment that final whistle went last night, there was an acceptance amongst the fans that they had been beaten by the better team, but a real delight at what they'd achieved and what fun they'd had along the way. They were here in this square last night until the early hours. They all seem to have vanished this morning. Either they're not up or they've already headed back to Wales to be there ready for the open top tour tomorrow. No doubt there will be many thousands waiting to greet the team. The team are heading back to their training base now, and then it's back to the UK.
Emma, thank you very much indeed. Well, as the manager said, the players can expect a hero's welcome when they return home tomorrow, with a day of events planned. And our reporter Megan Boot is in the Welsh capital outside Cardiff City's stadium. So what exactly have you heard that they can look forward to, Megan?
Well, Alistair, they have got an awful lot to look forward to, culminating in a special event held at the Cardiff City Stadium tomorrow night. Preparations are already well underway. Up to 33,000 fans are expected to join the team, the staff and musicians to celebrate all that they've received. From the very moment, though, they arrive back in Wales, they're going to be treated as heroes. There's a special salute planned at Cardiff Airport, and they will be greeted by the First Minister, Carwyn Jones. As Emma said earlier, there's going to be a special bus top tour all around the centre of Cardiff, starting at the capital, the castle. And whilst their motto has been "Together Stronger," that tour is an opportunity for them to see firsthand just how much they have inspired people here in Wales. Wales might be known for the rugby, but after the Euros, the only sport everyone about here is talking about is the football.
Megan, thank you very much indeed. And just a bit more for you on Wales on our website.
I got caught up thinking that we could win the whole thing. Anything's possible when the Welsh crowd sing. And if you
Oh yes, the Goldie-looking Chain Boys are back with their own rather humorous tribute to the Welsh team. Watch their song and video at itv.com/news. Tennis now, and Super Sisters Serena and Venus are on court this afternoon in their bid to set up a fifth all-Williams Wimbledon final. Serena's currently one set up against the Russian Elena Vasnina on centre court. Older sister Venus takes on the fourth seed Australian Open champion Angelique Kerber afterwards. Well, our sports correspondent Ian Payne is there for us. So looking good for Serena out there already.
Absolutely, yeah. She's storming through. She's already won the first set 6-2. She's 2-love up, broken her opponent's serve already. And could we be on course for an all-Williams final? As you said, it'll be the fifth one. They've met here 4 times in the final. Let's start with Serena. She's up against Elena Vasnina. She's an unseeded Russian. She is world number 50. They've met 4 times. Serena's won them all. As I say, she's racing through this game. The first set only took 28 minutes. After that match, it'll be the turn of her older sister, Venus Williams. She's not been in a semi-final of a Grand Slam since 2010. She's breaking all sorts of records after illness, but she's up against a much tougher opponent, the fourth seed, Angelique Kerber of Germany, who, as you say, won the Australian Open, beating Serena in that final.
It's all going to have to go some way to compete with what we witnessed late afternoon yesterday.
Oh, it was unbelievable yesterday. We had 2 matches that basically back-to-back lasted about, 8 hours, we worked out. Let's start with Andy Murray. He was back at Wimbledon today, ready for a bit of practice before his semi-final tomorrow. He beat Joe Wilfried Tsonga yesterday in another epic battle, 3 3/4 hours, 5 sets, and Murray will now play Thomas Berdych in that semi-final, and that was after Roger Federer had come from 2 sets down to Marin Cilic to win in 5, and that match lasting almost 4 hours as well. It's going to be quite a day today.
Ian, thanks very much. And finally, it was 20 years ago that the Spice Girls burst onto the British pop scene with their iconic hit Wannabe. Well, this year the video's been given a serious remake to highlight gender inequality across the world. The Spice Girls have welcomed it, with Victoria Beckham saying that she is proud that the new video will inspire a new generation. Faye Barker now on Wannabe version 2.
20 years since girl power first exploded on the scene, a remake of the Spice Girls Wannabe video, and a whole new generation to inspire.
If you want my future, forget my past.
This video's been launched by a British campaign called Project Everyone and highlights global gender inequality issues. It features artists from India, Nigeria and South Africa, as well as Canada and the UK. It'll be used by campaigners to take what they call global goals to world leaders at the United Nations this autumn.
There is a plan now that if it's fulfilled, by 2030, some of these issues should be gone. So it will be a world where women do not suffer violence, girls do not suffer violence. It will be a world where child marriage has ended, and it will be a world where we get equal pay.
If you want to be my lover.
The song's use today has the backing of the original group. Just a nod on social media from Victoria Beckham and Melanie C means in just 2 days it's been watched tens of millions of times. Back in 1996, the Spice Girls held nothing back, and girl power became a worldwide phenomenon that continues to evolve.
I think that girl power is still incredibly relevant today, and I don't think it's a coincidence that the young women that are really reviving and owning feminism in 2016 were the same little girls that grew up with girl power.
Girls and women are now sharing what they really want online. They're hopeful their messages will get through to world leaders, meaning issues like equality become a given. Faye Barker, ITV News.
The ITV News is next at 6:30 with the latest on that accident in Birmingham. But for now, from all of us here, bye-bye.